In studio with me, Dr. Ben Powell from the Texas Tech Free Market Institute. Another great event coming up tonight.
Yes, Chad. Thanks for having me on. We've got our final public event for the semester tonight at 5:30, co-sponsored with the College of Communication. But we'll be hosting it in the Rawls College of Business at 5:30 in the Grand Auditorium. Rockin the Wall. And it's about how the spread of rock and roll music behind the Iron Curtain contributed to the change of ideas that ultimately brought about the fall of the wall. And we're very fortunate to have with us Professor Larry Schweikart, who is a history professor at the University of Dayton, but also a former rock and roll musician who opened up for people like Steppenwolf and many other famous bands people would know. And he's the producer of this documentary.
Very
and
nice.
He's here with us today here on the show, but also will be there tonight at the event to take questions from the audience and give commentary on the significance of the film.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. First time in Lubbock. Love it here.
Awesome. Great to have you here. I find it interesting. This speech tonight will be interesting because you hear a lot about how music influences world events, and that's true, obviously, in this film. But really, we even see that with a few years ago. I remember seeing a documentary about rock music throughout the Middle East.
Right.
So it's interesting how music plays a role in all of this.
We have a second movie that we've just completed called Other Walls to Fall, which is largely about music today and places where there's oppression. The Middle East, we have a heavy metal band from inside Tehran that smuggled us footage. We've got a Cambodian rapper on his country's death list. There's an interesting group there, but we begin that movie with the Berlin Wall and the fall of the wall and how music really helped undermine the communist control and authority there.
How does it do that?
Well, rock music is distinctly American, and it has a structure that almost no other music in the world has, which is you start together as a band and you end as a band, but in between you have the famous solo. Mm-hmm. So it's a perfect picture of America. I mean, we do things together, but we never lose our individuality.
Right.
And so I became convinced in writing about that in a book called 7 Events That Made America that the structure of the music was every bit as important as the lyrics. Because a lot of the people couldn't understand the English lyrics, but they could sense that structure of freedom.
Very interesting. And this is something that you saw with the fall of the Berlin Wall?
Right, and we've interviewed rockers on both sides of the wall, Toto, Vanilla Fudge, The Doors, Quiet Riot, and people who played in the eastern side, including Leslie Mandoki, who's a very big producer now in Germany, but he was a rock drummer and a student activist in Hungary at the time, and he tells some incredible stories of how his music fought the system.
It's interesting to see how this is playing a part in other places too. I think that you brought up Tehran and a rock band that is inside Iran. That this has gained some notoriety within, I think, smaller circles, even here in the U.S., of what's going on in Iran.
Right, and one of the things that they mention that others over there mention, there is no real dedicated Voice of America, Radio Free Europe effort at the Middle East, because for a long time, we've at least for several years, we haven't really had a clear strategy in the Middle East, and we haven't had anybody who even wants to define the enemy, let alone develop methods to defeat the enemy. So one thing that I would recommend is we kind of revive Radio Free Europe and start blasting over, if not Miley Cyrus, maybe. God, we can find something to send over.
Oh, I think so. In Iran, and maybe what you also talk about in this film, Rockin the Wall, how is the music? It's not like it is here in the U.S. where you have it blasted on all the radio stations, and
right.
I would imagine it's not as free in a lot of these places. How does the music get out?
And one of the things that changed after Rockin the Wall ends with the Berlin Wall falling is the computerization and digitization of music. And that's a blessing and a curse. It's a curse because you compress the music spectrum. Any musicophile will tell you about the albums and how much better albums sound and the whole way things are produced now. But the blessing is that you can digitize your music and anybody can get on the web. And then the flip side of that is anybody can get on the web.
Right.
So you're competing against far more than than, say, the Doors when they came up and they would sign one deal with Elektra Records, and Elektra would shepherd them through and give them time to develop their music.
You're going to be at Texas Tech tonight.
That's right.
Where can people, if they're not able to make the event tonight, where can they see Rockin the Wall?
Well, you can go to our website, rockinthewallstudios.com, and Rockin the Wall is available on Amazon, iTunes, so it's available.
It's available for people to see. It's something that's definitely interesting. And Dr. Powell, when is the event tonight?
But come on out and see us tonight at 5:30. You can see it there, as well as meet Professor Schweikart. But also, the bookstore will have some of his books on sale. I didn't mention when I was introducing him, he's the author of a New York Times bestseller, A Patriot's Guide to U.S. History, and that'll be there for sale. So tonight's the place to see the documentary.
Awesome. Okay, that's going on tonight, 5:30 to 7. People should probably get there a little bit early, right?
Yep. Rawls College of Business. Parking is free and open to people outside.
Okay. All right. Dr. Pell, tell people how they can get more information on the Free Market Institute.
You can Google Free Market Institute and find us, or you can come to fmi.ttu.edu and see all the stuff we're up to.
All right. Dr. Powell, thank you very much. And Dr. Schweikart, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you.